All right, you'll love this. Now, as the battle for House Speaker continues, Congresswoman AOC Ocasio-Cortez is now floating the idea of a coalition government if Democrats decide to negotiate with the GOP. Watch this brilliant idea.
Do not believe that Kevin McCarthy has the votes. I believe that a lot of the opposition to him is very personal. I believe his leadership style is incompatible with a lot of Republican members and certainly the Democratic caucus. And so I think that is the central question. If not him, then who? Is there anyone in their caucus that can build that consensus? If there isn't, McCarthy's team may have to come to the Democratic Party. And if that's the case, then what would that even look like? It's rather unprecedented. Could it result in a potential coalition government? Could we get Democratic chairs of committees as a result? We don't know.
Now, this, of course, would be a disaster for Republicans and the country. It would likely mean shared subpoena power, more endless Democratic dirty tricks, because what Democrats, all they've shown us in the past, time and time again, is that's what they're for. They're hell-bent on destroying Republicans at all costs. For example, earlier today, Republican Congressman from Florida, Byron Donalds, was nominated by Congressman Chip Roy for the speakership. Now, this prompted a disgusting tweet from Congresswoman Cori Bush, quote, for what it's worth, Byron Donalds is not a historic candidate for speaker. He is a prop. Despite being black, he supports a policy agenda intent on upholding and perpetuating white supremacy. You can't make this up. And meanwhile, Republicans, as they continue to battle it out over the next speaker, Democrats, they're fully behind their far-left New York progressive Hakeem Jeffries, who himself has a history of being an election denier, denying the legitimacy of elections, including Donald Trump's. A full-on election denier now leads the Democratic Party in the House of Representatives. He tweeted in 2017, "The real hoax is your so-called election victory," and then added 45's Election Integrity Commission is the real fraud. Jeffries didn't stop there. He spewed out one bizarre theory of a stolen election after another, writing in 2018, quote, "Not sure how much longer that we can take this phony and corrupt fake president lying to the American people." Where's the outrage from the media mob over Jeffries being the big election denier? And by the way, if you thought House Democrats couldn't do any worse than Pelosi, you may be in for a pretty rude awakening. Here with reaction, former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee, along with former Congressman, Fox News contributor Jason Chaffetz is with us. You know, not only is he an election denier governor, he also supports sanctuary states. He himself has in New York government subsidized housing. But believe it or not, he pays a whopping $213 a year in property taxes. He said pro-life Americans are a cult. He has no limits on abortion. In 10 years, he's passed a whopping 6 bills. And this is now their new leader?
And that's why Republicans just need to quit goofing around on the Kevin McCarthy situation. He has 90% of the vote. There's 20 holdouts. I've never in my life, I've been in politics for over 30 years, I've never seen where 10% got to control 90. It just doesn't work like that. It's pretty simple math when you think about it. If the Republicans keep goofing off and they pretend that they're standing for a bigger principle than the 90% who are standing with Kevin McCarthy, the result might be having this guy as speaker. Can you imagine anything worse? I can't. It'd be ridiculous and absurd.
Well,
let's get this over with.
One Republican floated that idea, Jason Chaffetz. I don't believe that's possible. I would be shocked if it happened. It would be horrible for the country. How do you think this plays out?
It better not happen. I can't imagine a scenario where it does happen, but they do need to find a consensus candidate. And I can argue both sides of this. I really can. I can see both sides. I can see where it is impossible to get to where they want to get to, but somehow they got to figure it out. That's the way our founders set it up. And they got to figure out a solution. We're about 2 months behind on our oversight. Normally, you have committee chairs that have been elected. Committee members know what committees they're on. Consequently, they can hire the staff. None of that has even begun. So don't think we're just 2 days behind. We're about 2 months
Jason,
behind.
What you say a consensus candidate. What are we going to just keep throwing out a new name every day and vote for a different person every day? You know, the one thing that I think that people are not paying attention to is the commitments to America. People need to read it. That is the America First Donald Trump agenda. And then if you look at the investigations, he is committed to all of them. And he's added to that the motion to vacate in case he doesn't keep his promises. Seems pretty fair to me.
Well, I think you're hitting the two sides. And again, give me a moment to give both sides, okay? On the one side, you want to be able to argue to them and say, what are you worried about? Give them a chance. You know, they are taking the gavel away from Nancy Pelosi. That's a good thing. Didn't hit the numbers that you were supposed to. But what are you worried about? You can vacate the chair with 5 people. I can't believe that he would even agree to that. I think the number should be more like 25. But if he's agreeing to 5, okay. But on the other hand, they're looking at it saying, we report to our constituents. We don't report to you, Washington, D.C.
Okay, so you got 20 people holding up the rest of the country and progress and the other 200. Mike Huckabee, I'll let you answer Jason's claim.
Well, the arrogance of saying that 20 people somehow represent the base more than the 200 is absurd. On its face, it's absurd. Those 200 people represent the same 750,000 people that the 20 represent. And so this idea that somehow if you don't support the rebellion, you're a rhino. Look, that means Donald Trump's a rhino. Newt Gingrich is a rhino. I'm a rhino. Mark Levin is a rhino. That's crazy. And Kevin went out and campaigned for these people and raised money for them.
Wait a minute, that might be my favorite line.
And I think it's high time that some of them just show a little gratitude and elect him, move on. And I think one thing I agree with Jason about, if he doesn't do his job well, you only have 5 votes that bring him up to get rid of him.
Let me say this. If he doesn't keep his promises on the commitments, and he doesn't keep his promises on these investigations, I'll lead the charge. Mark Levin will lead the charge. Mike Huckabee, Newt Gingrich, all those rhinos, as people are saying, Jason, and I think you'd be a part of it as well. 200 to 20, that's where we are. The country needs to progress. That's my answer. Thank you both.